Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Wade McCree.
May 2012. I'm a middle 50s, happily married, marathon running, old school music loving, line dancing, bourbon drinking, hoe chasing judge in the Wayne County Circuit Court Criminal Division in downtown Detroit. From red lights to dog bites, traffic, and trash, I've seen just about all of it in my near 15 years on the bench. I'm handling the felony non-support docket, the deadbeat dads, or as my staff says, paying or staying. My morning docket at 9 a.m. is packed with a bunch of baby daddies, a bunch of upset mamas, a bunch of hard-working liaisons from the friend of the court, and some of the most underpaid defense lawyers you've ever seen. It's packed up in there, and they're bringing in the prisoners. One of the mothers in the audience is a woman who, in today's popular cancel culture, we'll call a Karen. One of Karen's baby daddies was arrested a few days earlier and brought before me. He comes into court, and of course in the docket we ask, is the complainant in the audience? And Karen rises. She's acknowledged on the record. She sits. Her baby daddy is given a new court date, a bond is set, and he's released. Karen comes up to my deputy and gets a business card and leaves. The event is really not remarkable at all, other than her 6-inch stiletto heels and a skirt up to her behind. The next day, Karen calls the court hoping to speak with me. She leaves a message with my secretary asking for a return call. That afternoon, as I always do, I'm going through my messages and I return the call, not knowing what to expect. This unkempt flattery just flows like an open spigot. I'm surprised, I'm flattered, I'm a little curious, I'm a bit aroused, and I am remarkably foolish because I asked Karen out to lunch. June 2012, and Karen and I are having lunch. And somewhere halfway through that second martini, we're making plans for the no-tell, motel, you don't tell, I don't tell. And you may be wondering, what does a 56-year-old man have in common with a woman in her late 20s with a criminal record? I'll tell you, we have two things in common: her youth and my checkbook. Okay. And I should have known I was walking into hell with gasoline draws. Fellas, my rap ain't that tough. I'm not that clever, rich, or good looking. Why didn't I see the side eye of the waiter when he brought the check? Because he could certainly smell the fumes, if not see the flames. But nevertheless, so began my whirlwind romance of several weeks. And I don't know what I was expecting to do with this woman, after the sweat dries, but, other than what the 25 minutes of pleasure I'm getting out of all of this. But nevertheless, here we are. And I understand that, in a relationship like this, that, well, as I said, we have in common two things. And I understand that the first rule of the game is that a man has to pay to play. Okay, yeah, I paid, and yeah, damn sure I got played. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I don't know how I could be this delusional, but I was. But you see, Karen wanted me to be her man, okay, not her other man. All right, now, Lady, we know how this goes, right? Okay, your other man, could be, your sponsor, your sugar daddy, maybe your baby daddy, your OTBF. Oh, that's your out-of-town boyfriend, and everybody's been one or had one. Okay, that your side piece or that tired brother who you see anyway, And what's worse is Karen wants an upgrade from being just the other woman. But your other man is not your man, and he's not your husband. Okay, and fellas, we know, depending on how much personality we have, Okay, that other woman, can be a kept woman. She'd be a mistress, a friend with benefits, side piece, or the garden tool. Okay. And we know trouble looms when we don't stay in our lane. Whereas Wade thinks he's on the fast track for a fun time, Karen has in her mind more of an express lane for something a little more permanent, when in fact she was never off the curb. I'm sorry, Aretha, but this is no freeway of love. See, Karen rather matter-of-factly tells me that she expects me to leave my wife, move in with her and her children, be engaged with a ring all by Christmas. Hey, it's August of 2012. I've been married to the most beautiful woman to have ever returned my phone call for the past 25 years, and I hadn't known Karen half as many weeks. But she tells me either I tell my wife about us or she will. Clearly, this is not going to end well. And for you old schoolers out there, as Kingfish used to tell Andy, "They's calls this an ultimatum." I have to come clean. I have to come clean to a wonderful woman who quite righteously deserves a lot better. And that night when I confess my transgressions to my much better half, she rather matter-of-factly says, "So, Negro, you want to leave?" I says, "No, baby. This is where I wants and needs to be." Okay. Fellas, you know the begging I'm talking about. I mean, that old school. I mean, James Brown, Lenny Williams, Richard Dimples Fields begging. Okay. I am blessed to only get sentenced to the basement sofa. Now, granted, there's some new ground rules now at the McCree household, but I'm still there. My key still fits the lock. And that warm autumn night when I call Karen and I tell her I confessed my foolishness to my wife and I never want to see you again, Karen makes a move you'd only expect out of a bad movie. Karen decides to pay us a visit. Late at night, parked in my driveway, standing on the porch, pounding on the front door. She's bellowing my name for all my neighbors to hear. Like all you urban residents, I too own some protection. But being the responsible parent of, at that time, young children, my firearm is both locked and sequestered. We do sleep with a baseball bat by the side of the bed. My wife takes the bat. She goes downstairs. She steps into the vestibule and she says, "Open the door and stand the back." I don't open the door. But in hindsight, I wish I had. I suppose the intent of Karen's shenanigans was, after the fight, my wife kicks me to the curb, and with no place to go, I go running to Karen to take me in. Shit. Cue Lou Rawls, fellas. I'd rather drink muddy water, sleep out in a hollow log. I'm lucky to just get sent back to the basement. And when I confront Karen about, the purpose of this stunt, she says, "I felt I had to." And with that, we are through. Or so I thought. Within days of her visit to our home, I'm on my Sunday morning jog around Belle Isle, as I do every Sunday, when Karen, who must have been parked for hours, rides down on me with her latest ultimatum. She claims that her guy at her bank, knowing how much I make as a state judge, which is public information, the approximate value of my house and my relatively modest financial encumbrances, can arrange an unsecured loan of a substantial amount for which she demands half for me to leave her alone, or for her to leave me alone. I said, hold on, wait. Before I can get the words, kiss my behind, eat shit, and die out of my mouth, Karen volunteers her collateral, claiming she is pregnant. No, by me. Okay. First of all, metaphysically, she can't be pregnant by me. Okay, I'm to and through. Okay, I got a boy and a girl, everything God makes. After that, it's redundant. Okay? Look, I got no place. I'm happy where I am. I got all the debt in the world, and I'm not looking to take on any more. And why would I move in with a woman who has small kids when mine are headed out the door? Okay. Karen claims that she wants his money. And now, man, I'm really wishing I'd let my wife have at her with that bat. Only now, it is time for Wade to make matters worse. Oh, yeah. I go to the authorities, thinking that the threat of a criminal prosecution for the harassment, the stalking, and the extortion would deter this behavior. I bare my soul to the prosecutor's office, and I seek their assistance. But any woman so crazy to visit a married man at his house in the middle of the night doesn't give a damn about what happens to her, and bringing ruin to everyone around her is nothing to her. So when the prosecutor's office tries to get her, Thanksgiving of 2012, you gotta think, we hadn't been intimate since the summer. For paying and playing, I mean, I'm paying, but I ain't been playing for a while, okay? And she ducks the contact from the prosecutor's office, and she runs to the TV news. And there I am, December 7th, 2012, the biggest local news story of the day, where absolutely, based in fact, but exaggerated and sensationalized for video depiction without a shred of evidence, it is accepted as gospel that I impregnated this woman and that I handled her case exactly as she wanted, to the detriment of the law and her baby daddy. Well, if any of you bothered staying awake for my May 2013 disciplinary hearing, you saw that after the testimony of 3 judges, several defense lawyers, probation officers, and everybody else, that no order was ever entered to correct, do, or undo something I did or didn't do. There was absolutely no case fixing. And of course, Karen was never impregnated by me. So mundane is well, of course, at the hearing, if you saw it, Karen is quite visibly pregnant at the hearing. Okay, hold on. This is May 2013. I know none of you saw the friend of the court documents that came out of this. Okay, Karen does give birth to a baby late October 2013. Let's do the math. Okay, October 2013. So to claim that in November, the friend of the court document said the child was conceived more or less Super Bowl weekend of 2013. So how is it November of 2012? She claims she's already pregnant from an encounter from that summer. Karen would have to be an elephant, a giraffe, or a blue whale. So mundane is my disciplinary hearing that on about the third or fourth day, one of the more reputable news stations corners my lawyer in the hallway at recess. I said, "Excuse me, counsel, where's the case fixing? The locking up of the baby daddy and the pregnancy?" My lawyer says, "Hold on. First of all, the baby daddy was not locked up. Why? Because he paid his back child support just like the statute orders. Okay? And of course, Karen was never, ever, ever pregnant by Wade." And with that, well, in short, the capsule, as you can probably guess, here I was, another egotistical, holier than thou, smart-ass public official who in his chambers just got him a little lipstick on his dipstick, and that's really about all it was. And with that, this other news station, they pack up their cameras and they leave. Whereafter the powers that be got into my behind. Oh yeah, I received the single most severe sanction of any judicial officer never to have fixed a case, taken any money, corrupted a file, been indicted, on any criminal offense whatsoever. Oh yeah, unlike other similarly situated judges, okay, yeah, I'm fired. They go into my account, take all my money. And then it's ordered that if I were to run for the judicial election in the next election series, and if I should win freely, fairly, and openly in an election by the people of Wayne County and win, then I would be further suspended without pay for an additional 6 years. Yeah, I got canceled. And Karen isn't done. Now, armed with a lawyer of her own, she threatens to sue me civilly if I, you guessed it, don't pay her another outrageous sum of money. I guess her mindset is, okay, look, he'll settle out of court with me for 5 figures before he incurs a 6-figure bill from these lawyers just to defend this case. Shit. I get half the lawyers in Wayne County the last of my money before I gave that lying skank a dime. Okay? So I'm canceled and put out to pasture, off the bench, and I say back to regular life. But if I can give one last shout out, I guess, to Johnny Taylor. And no, it's not as cheaper to keep her. I know you're thinking that. But no, it's what I was down to these last $2. But Johnny, I'm still with my disco lady going on 35 years. Now, we don't shake it up, shake it down, move it in, move it around like we used to. But as the whispers say, it just gets better with time. I'm now that toothless old dog. I've had probationers, on an electronic house arrest tether with more freedom than I enjoy right now. I got a GPS chip up my behind that'll set off a metal detector. And I deserve it. No, I deserve it. As I said, I'm that old dog who now, I sit on the porch. I got no bite. Okay, I bark loudly at young cars that drive by, but that's about it. I know you've all heard that old adage that experience is the only teacher that gives you the test first and the lesson second. I'm former Judge Wade McCree, and I got a lot of experience flunking that test. But thanks to the most wonderful woman in the world who didn't birth me, I learned my lesson. And y'all know I got to be home by 10:30. So thank you.